Hello, hi, and welcome. If you're new here, my name is Sarah, and this is Wicked Reading. So today I'm going to share with you guys my May TBR slash hopeful stack because there's a lot of books and I probably won't read all the ones I'm talking about today, and knowing me, I will probably read books outside of the list that I give today. May is going to be super exciting and fun because if you haven't heard yet, Lexi from Books with Lexi actually hosts a month-long readathon called Escape the Readathon. This year's theme is carnival themed, which I'm so excited about because I love that theme. And even more exciting, Lexi actually invited me to be a co-host alongside Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy, and we are the team leaders for the Game Jesters team. So go ahead and sign up for Escape the Readathon and sign up with Game Jesters. We're gonna win anyway, so you might as well join the winning team. But Escape the Readathon is a super fun, friendly, competitive, team-based readathon. It was actually the first readathon I did last year, and it was so much fun. Last year's theme was haunted house, and I had so much fun. So to be on the other side of it this year just means so much to me, and I'm so excited. I will link Lexi's announcement video down below. It talks about the readathon in depth. It talks about all the rules and everything. She will explain it so much better than I can, so please check out her announcement video. But to kind of summarize some of the main points that we need to know for this video is we have a list of prompts that will unlock specific buildings. So I picked out some books based on those prompts, but we will also end up getting mystery prompts along the way when we end up getting stuck in games. In order to unlock these buildings and get through the games, we have to read books based on those prompts. So since there's an aspect of mysterious book prompts that I don't know yet, I again will probably read books outside of the list that I've curated based on the prompts we do know about, because obviously there's no way for me to plan for those ones ahead of time. But I have a pretty decent stack here, so most of these books could apply to multiple prompts, although you do only apply it to one single prompt. But I wanted to have books that, in case one of the prompts and buildings already gets unlocked and done and we don't need to read for that prompt anymore, I could still apply it for a different prompt. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm sorry if it doesn't. So I did not organize these books at all. I literally just started pulling books off my shelf and putting them on my cart. So we're just gonna go through them as I pulled them. So the first one I decided to pull was Taste Like Candy by Ivy Tholen. I really wanted to pull this one because it's a carnival themed slasher. So that just fits the theme and I love it. Love a good theme moment. This is a new author for me, as well as I would consider this a friend rec because I actually bought this book based on multiple people's recommendations. One was Kelsey's recommendation from Slime & Slashers, and also Lexi herself has mentioned this book, so I could apply it for that too. It's also in my favorite genre because it's a horror book, so I have some options on what prompt I might apply this for, but I definitely want to read this one. Again, because it's carnival themed, it's perfect. So then actually another one that is a carnival themed slasher is the Cotton Candy Massacre Part Toots. So I did read the first one last year, absolutely loved it. It reads very much like a campy B horror slasher with killer clowns. This is the sequel. It's so much shorter compared to the first book, but I'm really excited for this one. The gore and the body horror in the first one was really something. A lot of blood, a lot of skin stuff, so very effective for me, and I liked the visuals, I liked the characters, so I'm really excited to see what happens with this one. I would consider this a popcorn read. This is in my favorite genre. It's an author that I've read from before, so again, multiple options for this one. Next, I have Foe by Ian Reid. Again, I'm so excited to read this one. This one is picked out specifically as a 5-star prediction, which if you watch my latest video that went up Sunday before this, you would have seen this mentioned in that video as a 5-star prediction. This will definitely get read because I'm dying to read this one so much. I feel so good about it. I don't know what it's about. I don't know what it's about other than I've heard that it has bug horror in it, and I really love Ian Reid's writing, so I'm going into this one pretty blind, so we'll see. It's just oozing 5-star potential because of those two reasons. Then I also pulled All the Fiends of Hell by Adam Neville. This is a alien horror, and that's kind of like all there is to know about that. This is a known author. I have read from Adam Neville before. This I debated on making a 5-star prediction. I decided not to just because I've given Adam Neville quite a mixed bag of ratings. Not that I've read so much from him, but I do own a lot of his books. But so I don't know, I didn't feel comfortable enough to give it a 5-star prediction, but it's a known author. It's a favorite genre. I'm sure I could find a thumbnail that would match this, so we're good. Another 5-star prediction is Monstrillo by Gerardo Samano Cordova. This is a literary grief horror in which we follow a woman whose son has passed. And in her kind of grief, she decides to take a piece of his lung. It's supposed to bring them back to life somehow. I don't really know all the details, but again, I talked about this in my last video. It's recommended to me time and time again. People think I'm gonna love it. I think I'm gonna like it, but I'm a little bit nervous with all the hype around it. At least in my head, there's a lot of hype around it. So this is on the list and hopefully I can get to it. Then I have Linghan by A.I. Jiang. I think that's how you say that. This is actually the book club pick for Katrina Brown's book club called the Reaper Book Club. This is the Twisted Retreat special edition, and I think it's stunning and gorgeous, and I love the mustard color so much. But this is a supernatural, maybe ghost story. I don't know, actually. I'm not even gonna try to explain it because I don't really know, but I'm gonna read it. And a lot of people have been saying really great things about it. It's on the top of the TBR because it's part of a book club, so there we go. This one will definitely get read. Another 5-star prediction, The Devil in Silver by Victor Laval. Again, I just talked about this in my last video. So to keep it super brief, it's about a man who gets arrested, but the cops don't feel like dealing with him. So he ends up getting put in a mental institution and he's pretty much stuck there. This, I think I will get the audiobook for. I have it on hold on my Libby app and it's become available to me a couple of times already and I keep pushing it off because I want it to be available for me for May. So hopefully it becomes available again and I hope it ends up being a 5-star. Next one is one that ended up winning a poll pick. I might do more polls along the way, but for now this is my only poll pick winner and that is Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. This is the second book in the Shepherd King duology where we follow this girl named Elsbeth and she got sick, and in this world, this sickness leads to the people that survive the sickness having an ability. So she kind of carries around this ability with her secretly, unbeknownst to anybody else. She should have been put to death because the king ordered anybody that got sick to be killed because of these magical abilities that were gained. But she kind of lives in secrecy with what she calls the nightmare in her head. But the magic system in this world relies on these tarot cards, and whoever has the cards can wield the magic. And then she ends up joining this like motley crew of people that want to kind of, I don't really even remember, either put an end to the king or something because he's definitely corrupt in multiple ways. So I don't really fully remember. Hopefully I explained that well enough, but this is the sequel to that. The next 2 books I picked, I will likely only read one of them, and I'm hoping that I do at least read one of them. These are both intimidating reads for me because one, they're both higher fantasy without like romance, at least that I know about, and 2, they're on the bigger side. So, but mostly the fact that they lean way more into fantasy than I typically read. The first one is The Helm of Midnight by Marina Loststetter. So this I've had for a long time. Both of these actually I've had for too long and they are both on my 24 for 24. This I've had for well over a year now, and it has to do with this group of thieves that come across a mask, and this mask had belonged to a very I guess like darkly powerful entity of some sort. Actually, let me just read a little bit of it. It says, thieves had made away with an artifact of terrible power, the death mask of Louis Carbon, made by the master craftsman. It is imbued with the spirit of a monster from history, a serial murderer who terrorized the city. Now he is loose once more, killing from beyond the grave. Rona Hervath and her fellow regulators must enter the mind of madness to stop this insatiable killer while facing the terrible truths left in his wake. I feel like I remember hearing something about in this world, if you wear the mask, you kind of have or yield the power or abilities of the person who owned that mask, something like that, something along those lines. Again, I have owned this for far too long, so I haven't really looked into it much since. So I'm really hoping to maybe get to it. I don't know. One thing that does make me hesitant is this is an ongoing series, and the third one, I believe the third one, has not been released yet. And I don't love starting series that aren't finished or aren't close to finishing. I don't know how close this one is to finishing. I'm just like always nervous that it's going to end up being like a Game of Thrones thing where I start a series and then they just never finish the series. And I don't think I would be able to move on with my life if that happens. So I don't want to get stuck in an unfinished series, but I think that this is kind of close to tying up. I don't know. I'll have to look into it, but the premise sounds interesting. I'm just nervous that my little brain won't be able to wrap around it, but we'll see. And then this is another one that I've had for far too long. It's intimidating. It's on my 24 for 24. I need to get to it, and that is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. I've heard wonderful things about this, and I think that also makes it intimidating. For me, intimidating reads are high fantasy, or like a genre that's out of my realm. I have a sci-fi I'll talk about in a second that I picked because I am a little nervous with the sci-fi stuff. Like, this is a space opera. Again, I don't know. That makes me scared that I'm not going to understand what's going on. Also, if it's big, also if it's highly hyped, and also arcs are intimidating for me too. But this book is intimidating for multiple reasons. It's big, it's sci-fi, it's higher fantasy, and it's hyped. So there's a lot of reasons why this one's intimidating for me. But all I really know about it is it was sold to me as like lesbian necromancers in space. And for me, I was like, that sounds good. So I bought it, and I have yet to read it. So hopefully maybe I'll get to it this month. So those were all the ones that I own physically that are on my list, but I still have more. So let's talk about the ones that I'm hoping to get from the library in May. The first one is another 5-star prediction, and that is Natural Beauty by Ling Ling Huang. This is a book that surrounds wellness and health industry, but ties in a lot of literary horror with that. So I'm excited. It's a 5-star prediction for a reason. So hopefully I can pick this up for my library. It's currently on hold. I don't know when it will be available to me, but that is on the list. Next is The Woods All Black by Lee Mandello. This book is about a transgender man who is a like traveling nurse, or like works for a nursing group that kind of sends nurses out to more rural, isolated areas in order to make sure that the people there have healthcare. So the main character ends up getting sent to kind of an isolated area, part of the Appalachian Mountains. And it's a horror, so I don't really know what happens from there, but the author is a transgender man. So I'm really excited to read this one. It's on the shorter side. This was an anticipated release for me for Q1. This did release, I don't remember exactly when, but quite recently, like within the last month, this book did release. So this one is a new to me author, so I'm really excited to check out their work. Another one that I'm hoping to get from the library is Grey Dog by Elliot Kish. Again, another one that I talked about in my Sunday video for a 5-star prediction. Apparently, I just really want all the 5 stars for May, so we're going big, and we're picking all the 5-star predictions. This is described as a subversive horror where we follow a woman in 1901. And she starts to notice a lot of weird stuff in nature, mutilated deer, a horde of like dying crickets, just a lot of weird stuff going on. And she starts to kind of lose touch with what is reality, what is traumatic memory coming up for her, or what is completely hallucinatory. So I'm really excited to read this one. It sounds totally up my alley. I've been super into like the weird girl lit lately, which, speaking of, I do have a vlog coming up. It should hopefully be going up Sunday following this, of me reading some books that are kind of sold as weird girl lit. So I'm just like really feeling the weird girl lit vibes right now. So I'm hoping that this fits that, and it's good, and it's 5 stars. Then another sci-fi I decided to pick out was All Systems Red by Martha Wells. This is a series of books. Like, I think that there's a lot because the first book at least is pretty short. So it might be kind of a, what's that one series, The Wayward Children? Is that what it is? It's like a bunch of shorter books, but it's like an ongoing series. I think that is maybe what this series is. It's the Murder Bot series, so I don't really know what it's about. But again, I've been wanting to try more sci-fi because I have been quite intimidated by it in the past and also presently. But I decided that this one sounded like a good one to start with because it's on the shorter side. So that's on the list. I don't know that I'll get to that one. That one's not like priority read for me, but it is there nonetheless. And then one of my monthly goals is to read at least one book from Kindle Unlimited a month. So I looked on my Kindle and I have a few options. So I'm really not going to set any particular stories in stone, but currently the ones that stand out to me the most is The Heart by David Sodergren. I don't really know what it's about. It's a shorter novella, but I have heard Lexi talk about it herself, so I personally would consider this as a friend recommendation. She read it during Realmathon and really, I think it was Realmathon. She read it in a vlog and really liked it, said it had good body horror. So I'm taking that as a recommendation. I added it to my Kindle because of her, so I do have that one available to me. I also downloaded Ghostland by Duncan Ralston, and I downloaded this based on the recommendation from Katrina Brown. This I kind of really want to read because it takes place in an amusement park. I don't really remember the premise, to be totally honest, but I think people get stuck in this amusement park that's called Ghostland, and there may or may not be like killer people or entities or something. I don't know if it's really a slasher or if it's kind of like supernatural. I might find out if I read it this month. Another one that I might read but is honestly probably not going to be read is Lady Macbeth by Ava Reed. I have an e-arc for this one from NetGalley, and again, arcs are really intimidating for me, so I could count it for that. I also have not read from Ava Reed before. I love the cover of this though. It's stunning. I don't even know anything about Macbeth, like the William Shakespeare Macbeth. I don't know anything about it. I'm not a William Shakespeare girly, but the cover of this really intrigued me, and I have been curious about Ava Reed's writing in general because a lot of her books pique my interest. Like Juniper and Thorn is one that has been on my radar. A Study in Drowning has been on my radar. So she's an author that a lot of her books have been on my radar, but I just haven't made myself seek them out specifically. But this one I did get an e-arc, so I may or may not read that one. That one releases August. I don't remember the exact date, but it releases in August, so I feel like I do still have time to read it before it at least releases, so I don't feel super pressured to read it immediately for this readathon, but I thought I would at least include it because that is my soonest releasing arc that I currently have on my NetGalley shelf. So that is everything for today's video. I absolutely cannot wait for May. I'm like counting down the minutes until this readathon starts. I just have a really good feeling that May is going to be an amazing reading month. If you made it to this point in the video, leave me an emoji down below that matches the team that you joined for Escape the Readathon. If you haven't yet, please give the video a like, subscribe for future content, turn on the bell notification, all the fun YouTube things that help your girl out, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!